Now, this update to me, Aditya, is very exciting because we have this Media Explorer user interface that is now allowing for a UI that is extremely developer friendly when it comes to working with Cloudinary's various digital assets, images, videos. So that way it doesn't always have to necessarily be done via API. Talk to me about what this beta project is.
Yeah, super excited to share about this update. Essentially, one of the biggest advantages of Cloudinary is it provides that one platform for business users and developers to work together and collaborate on various image, video, and other kinds of assets. And we already offer a very comprehensive and robust UI for managing assets. But we have listened closely to our customers, particularly developers, and have now introduced this UI that's specifically meant to address the needs of developers. And the idea here is to give a very intuitive UI that is focused on developer needs around asset management, whether it is viewing all the assets that they've uploaded to Cloudinary, managing those assets in terms of their metadata tags, or updating those assets, and even some very cool features that I'll get into in a minute.
One thing that I'm seeing here, maybe you are going to get to this, Aditya, but I'm seeing a bullet here about generating SDK code snippets. And so you're able to do this through the UI now?
Yeah, absolutely. So, typically developers who are new to Cloudinary still learning all the syntax and everything, or still trying to, get used to the Cloudinary way of programmatically adding, updating, removing assets. They can now come into this UI and simply click on an asset, upload it, and it shows them the code that was used behind the scenes to upload that asset. So next time they want to upload hundreds of thousands of assets, they can simply use that code snippet and run it programmatically behind the scenes to bulk upload assets, for example. This is super valuable because they don't need to remember the environment details or anything. They get all that, built in within the code.
And I think the thing that's great for me about this as well is that the team, the R&D team, the product team, they've also addressed many of the SDKs that are our most popular ones, as well as probably the most popular programming languages and frameworks that are used in overall developments, like node.js, Python, PHP, Ruby. These are the things that people are using for development. So it's great to see that you can now get it regardless of what you're deciding to build the next project in. You probably have a suitable SDK for that overall project. So this is a great thing that the Media Explorer project is addressing.
Yeah, absolutely. We're continuing to add more SDKs, but we've targeted the ones that we know are very, very popular with our customers. And one more thing I would certainly want to add here is oftentimes developers need to troubleshoot or debug certain assets, like they may be placed in the wrong folder or wrong tags may be applied. Trying to do this programmatically can often be a little challenging. And so with this new UI, the developers can actually click on an asset and get all of those details and be able to even update or change them. So that's another massive benefit that this feature brings to the table.
So let's take a look at this thing. So Paul, can you give us a quick walkthrough of what Media Explorer is today?
Sure, no problem. So I have my Media Explorer open. I was able to get here by logging into my account, clicking on Programmable Media, and then you'll see Media Explorer here. I've clicked on it. So like you said, it's a interface that's geared towards developers. This is sort of analogous to the folder view of your media library. We have our folders, we have all of our assets. I could click into, certain folders to get some get some to dive deeper, see what's available within that folder. And like Aditya said, we can actually open some of these assets that are in the folder. We can look at the metadata. We can look at public ID, stuff like that. We could add tags as needed, and we can actually start to do some minimal management of the tools. Of the assets that are in our library. Let's take a look at what we talked about, the code snippets. So I think that's really powerful. So if we look here, we have developer mode. I'll click to this to open it. So right now we have several of our SDKs available. Here we have Node, we have Python, PHP, and Ruby. If we just want to get the connection code for this, for any one of these, say you're a Python developer and you're writing an application, you can click on Python and then click Integrate SDK. What comes up is your SDK integration information. So you could take this, you could copy it into your application. You can do it for Node, Ruby, PHP as needed. So that's a great start, right? So we have that integration code that is going to be used by anyone who's writing an application in any one of these languages. Right now we have these 4 SDKs, but more will be added. What's also cool is that you can create other code snippets. So let's take a look. Let's think about a search, right? Let's say I want to do a search for, mountains, right? If I were to come in here and type mountains in the search and hit return, it's going to actually run that search in the background and pull up anything that's labeled with mountains or tagged as such. And if we look here, this is actually taken a look at our action and it's generated a code snippet. So let's say hypothetically you're a developer, you're building maybe a small image search that runs on Cloudinary. You're going to need to write the code to do that. Instead of, pouring through docs, things like that, you can simply come in here, run that search, and you get the code snippet. Obviously, you'd want to replace, say, mountains with, the wildcard search that the user has entered, but you have that starter code. Now, let's say I wanted to delete a few of these, right? And I can go in here, hit delete. It's going to confirm. And now, since I completed that action, I actually have a new code set here, which is how to delete, how we can delete some assets, right? So again, you'd want to edit this a bit to be part of your application, but you could take this code snippet. You could then move this into your application as part of your delete function. You don't need to go through the docs. Everything you're doing within here can generate some code snippets for you that are really easy to use. And again, those will be generated in the various different languages for the SDKs we have available. So if you're a Python developer and you need to move this to Node, you can just go over here and do it. Maybe you're working on an application that's in a language you're not super familiar with, but you can come in here and get that information from our SDK. So really powerful. I think any developer would recognize that, this is a great way to get the exact thing you're looking for by just performing the actions.
I think this is phenomenal. And one thing that I think is truly phenomenal is exactly what you just demonstrated here, that rather than having to go and figure out which API am I calling, am I going to be using the upload, the admin, trying to look through documentation, everything's here. And it makes it simple and easy to be able to say you have a template now because of an action you took with the UI that's transferable to the work that you're doing in the SDK, in your IDE, in your development environment. So this is very, very cool what you just demonstrated here. And Aditya, one thing that I'm also seeing here on Paul's screen that we should point out is if someone's using this Media Explorer and they have feedback, because as we're pointing out, this is something that is still technically in beta at the time of this demonstration, where should people be going for this?
Yeah, great point, Sam. So we are looking for feedback around the experience, the navigation. So any developers who are, trying or testing this out, please feel free to reach out to us. You can contact our support team, which is available pretty much 24/7 to listen to your feedback and any kind of queries that you want to provide here, or even suggestions on further improving the experience. We are more than happy to take those kind of suggestions.
Absolutely. And you can see here that Paul was able to demonstrate that with the send feedback button that's right there in Media Explorer. And then also if you are sending tickets and you're sending support queries over to our support team, everything's being accumulated and getting passed through for further improvements on this. So this is fabulous work by everybody involved. Great demonstration, Paul. Great explanation, Aditya. Is there anything else that we have to say about Media Explorer?
No, we're really excited to see how this helps accelerate workflows for developers when it comes to asset management, and hopefully also simplify some of their day-to-day tasks of, finding the right code syntax and SDK details, etc., that they need to get their job done.